Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise podcast. It's Tuesday. Should be a Dave Brown day. Dave and I could not get a time figured out. So he will hopefully come on later this week. So you're stuck with me for now. But I didn't want to let this Tuesday go by without a pod because the Cubs obviously made a huge pennant-changing acquisition when they traded on Monday for Seattle Mariner left-handed reliever Drew Pomeranz. What? Yeah. So basically, they need another lefty in the bullpen for two reasons. Number one, the lefty they've had there all season, Caleb Thielbar, mostly bad. He threw a couple of shutout innings the other day, got his ERA back to what looks like a real ERA. It's 4. But the underlying numbers are still bad. Although he's hard to hit. 9 innings, only 3 hits, because he walks everybody. 7. So that's not great. So they knew they needed. You got to have 2 lefties if he can. That's preferable. So they called Luke Little up. He's finally healthy, and he was fucking terrible in his one appearance in San Diego. You got 2 outs. They walked 4 and gave up a run. Nice job. Didn't give up a hit, though. That's just like him and Thielbar. Those 2 guys, they don't give up hits. 3 hits combined out of the 2 of them. Still bad. You know it was bad when after the game, Craig Counsell, who never goes off on anybody, went off on him. He's like, we walk guys we can't walk. We walk Jason Hayward. Ugh. A lefty on a lefty. Jason Hayward. You shouldn't be demoted. You should be, well, I'm not even going to say deported because it's not funny these days. And he walked Gavin Sheets, another lefty who can't hit lefties. And they walked Tyler Wade. I don't think he's a lefty, is he? He was not good. So, didn't work out. So then they brought Jordan Wicks up. Turning Jordan Wicks from a slightly below average starting pitcher into what looks like a very below average reliever. He came in, and I was wrong. I thought I heard that he gave up hits on the first 3 pitches that he threw to the Diamondbacks in his first appearance in that crazy game last Friday. I was way off. It was 5. He gave up 3 hits on 5 pitches. So there you go. So that has put Jordan pitched again, not very effectively in the loss on Sunday, and so this is what you could trade for in April. You could trade for Drew Pomeranz, a once very, very good reliever. He had 3 really good years in a row out of the bullpen. In 2019, he pitched for the Giants and the Brewers. Actually, he was good with the Brewers, not so good with the Giants. And then 2 years with the Padres, 145 ERA, 175 ERA. Didn't give up many hits. Didn't walk that many guys. Struck out lots of guys. 29 guys in 18 innings in 2020. And then 2021. So what's he been up to since? Nothing. He's been hurt. Oh, good. He hasn't pitched since 2021. This is an old guy they've drug off the scrap heap, and he's not the oldest lefty in his own bullpen. Thielbar is older, 2 years older. He didn't pitch for 4 years. That's not the longest gap in the bullpen. Caleb Thielbar didn't pitch for 5. Although he was in Japan, Korea, Bangladesh, somewhere. So this is what they've resorted to already. Is Drew Pomeranz. We'll see. Maybe it's going to be a miraculous recovery. I can tell you it's going to go one of 2 ways. Either he's going to immediately get torched, or he's going to be pretty good for like 2 weeks. And you're going to be like, you're just going to get comfortable and go, all right, this worked. He's only 36. He's got a lot of miles left on that arm. And then he's going to just blow his elbow out. And they're like, oh, that was it. That's all gone. Great. So I guess you got to give Jed credit for trying. When it would have been nice for him to have tried would have been in the offseason when there were actually people available. But no, Cubs were busy stocking the bullpen with Eli Morgan and Caleb Thielbar. And I will admit that so far the Brad Keller thing looks like it might work. I'm very skeptical of the Cub pitch lab because I think it sucks. Maybe somebody else's pitch lab fixed Brad first. I don't know. It was funny, though. Boog was going on about how, the Cubs, a lot of teams were interested in Brad Keller. And he picked the Cubs because the Cubs vaunted pitch lab. And I was like, that's complete bullshit. A lot of teams were so incredibly interested in Brad Keller that he signed a minor league deal with the Cubs. There's a lot of teams that were out there going, you know who we ought to get? We got to get Brad Keller because his ERA last year was only 5.84. And the year before, it was only 4.86. And then the year before that, it was only 5.44. And in 21 and 22 with the Royals was 5.39 and 5.09. That's the guy we want. So far with the Cubs, it's 3. He struck out 12 in 9 innings. 3 walks. But 9 hits. It's a little concerning. But we'll see. He's 29. He didn't take 5 years off yet. I'm sure that's coming. That's next on the agenda. I'm going to pitch for the Cubs. I'm going to be good I'll be okay for a month. Then I'll be shitty. And then I'll take a half a decade off. And I'll come back to the Cubs because they love those guys. That would be great. I actually was going to see if he has to be older, right? Because he was older. I was going to see if Luke Haggerty was actually younger than Caleb Thielbar. No. Got him by a good 6 years. Not even close. What was I thinking? That game on Sunday, the game on Friday was amazing. It was one of those where you were watching it and nothing happened for a long time. And then all of a sudden, everything happened. And I was a little, I'm going to pull it up here. Good that I didn't. Why would I have pulled this up before I started talking about it? See, this is usually if I have another person, I just make them talk. But I can't do that right now because it's just me. But yeah, it was Colin Ray against Corbin Burns, and former Brewer teammates going toe to toe, and Colin was matching Corbin pitch for pitch. Well, kind of. He had the lead when he left, 2-1. He left an inning and a third earlier than Corbin did, but Cubs can't wait to get to the vaunted bullpen with the second worst ERA in baseball. Got to get to that as quickly as possible. Those balls of fire got to get in the game. Got to get our reps. That's it. The more they pitch, the better they'll get, and the more we'll lose. But that's fine. So it's 2-1 going into the 7th, and all hell breaks loose. Cubs score 5 runs. Ian Happ hits a grand slam. 7-1. Porter Hodge, who had been warming up because it was 2-1. It was a high leverage 8th coming up. Got to go to Porter Hodge, and he sat down. And they're like, fuck it. We could trust Wicks with this. That'll be fine. And then Wicks lost it. He didn't lose it. He didn't have it. He got hit so hard, so fast that Porter wasn't ready then when he came in, and he just got lit up. Unbelievable. You could see it coming. And then there was fun stuff like Tater had come in to play as a defensive replacement at third base, and Randall Grichuk, for his second hit of the day, hit one right over the bag at third that Tater went over and didn't touch. There was an error on that, but it wasn't on him. It was on Happ's terrible throw back into the infield. A lot of fun. 10 runs on 8 hits, the error on Tater. None left on base, because I think my favorite moment in it was So it was 8-7. Porter had blown the lead. But then he walked Josh Naylor to put 2 on. And then Craig had seen enough. And it was going to go to Ethan Roberts. And I was like, oh, this is bad. The only reason you go to Ethan Roberts here is so the Diamondbacks can just put it away. And on a 2-2 pitch, Lourdes Gurriel hit a bomb. And it was 11-7. And you're like, well, that's all over. The Diamondbacks went to Bryce Jarvis. Which doesn't sound like a guy that can get anybody out. He's not related to, I don't believe, to Cosmo Jarvis, who was in Shogun. If you've never seen Shogun, you should go see that. It's pretty good. Go see it. Yeah, just go. It's like you have to go to somebody else's house. It's on Hulu, or probably on, I don't know if it's on Disney Plus. I don't know how the Disney Plus Hulu thing works. I have both. They have Hulu stuff on Disney Plus. Do you have to subscribe to Hulu to get it, or do you get it with Disney Plus? And if so, why am I still paying for Hulu? I don't know. But anyway, it's on one of those. Just watch it. And stop bothering me. Bryce Cosmo Jarvis came in 0-2 count to Nico Horner. It was one of those moments in the game. Bottom of the 8th, Cubs just blew a big lead. They're down by 4. It's not like they blew it and they're only down by a run. The park is like, ugh. Everybody's pissed. It's warm, so people stayed. So it was nice to be outside. 0-2 pitch to Nico. He hit him. It's like, oh. And then he walked Pete. And we know how hard we love Pete, but he walked him on 4 pitches. How can you walk Pete in 4 pitches? Pete Crow. Did you guys enjoy last week? The 3 nights of Rick Sutcliffe? Was it last week? Yeah. Where that's the reason that we call him Pete Crow, is because he thinks that's his first name. And Rick just, Pete Crow, over and over and over again. It really would make the uniform look better if he changed to honor, I don't know, the mom is the Crow? To honor mom, just go Pete Crow with the first name and just say, wear dad's name on the back. Not because dad's the man, but because that's the order. It would look better. Armstrong would look better on the back than all those letters. But he did a lot of improvement when he went to 4. I'm a strong advocate of that. Changing the number from Cliff Thrift, I think, was 52 on the Brian Cabral was 54. I think Cliff Thrift was 52 on the 85 Bear. So anyway, 2 on. Cosmo, Carson Kelly, the red hot Carson Kelly, best hitter in the National League, 3-run bomb. Cubs are back in. And then with 1 out, Happ got a single, and then Kyle Tucker hit a home run to give the Cubs the lead, and then Seiya hit one to give him an insurance run, and it was pandemonium. Then the Cubs had the bases loaded still with only 1 out, and Pete struck out, and then Kelly grounded out, and that was it. But Ryan Presley has looked better. It'd be hard to have looked worse. He got bailed out on a great play by Michael Busch with 1 out. Poor Jake McCarthy. He was hitting 081. He smokes one down the line for a sure double, and Busch dives and grabs it. That's what happens when you hit 081. Bad luck and bad. Now, there was some controversy. Alex Cohen, Thumbo, couldn't understand this. They gave the win to Ryan Presley. Now, but he got the save, right? He came in the 9th with a 2-run lead, and he should get the save. He got the win. The reason he got the win is Colin Ray didn't go 5 innings. When the starter doesn't go 5 innings, then the official scorer, if that team wins, the official scorer gets to pick who he thinks is the most effective reliever. Starter isn't eligible. Doesn't matter that Colin Ray pitched better than everybody in that game. You don't go 5 innings, you can't get the win. Once the starter leaves, anybody else can get the win. Who pitches? Now, you can't give it to the second base. And so the guy who was in the game when the Cubs took the lead technically was Ethan Roberts. And Thumbo couldn't understand why Ethan Roberts didn't get the save or get the win. And then Ryan Presley get the save. What did Ethan Roberts do? He pitched to 2 batters. He gave up a 3-run homer. If he was the most effective Cub reliever in that game, they would not have won. So, and you can't give Presley both. You can't get the win and the save. You pitched so well, we're going to give you both. There's just no save then. And he was like, I bet Brian Presley really wishes he got that save. I kind of think he doesn't give a shit. He's just glad that he got people out. But add another one to the confused ramblings of Alex Thumbo Cohen, who did 2 games over the weekend. Why was he working Saturday? I get that Boog went to do Sunday Night Baseball on the radio, which I still think is the dumbest thing. But why? It was Houston. It was in Houston. You can't get to Houston in one day? Couldn't get a flight? It's not like O'Hare and the Houston airport, whatever that is, are hubs or anything. It's very difficult. I mean, you got to connect through. You got to fly to Bangor, and then Charleston, and then all the way over. And you got to go to Walla Walla, Washington, and then you can connect to Houston. I don't think that's how it works. Maybe Jed. Maybe Boog. Was trying to cash in on his hotel mile or his hotel, whatever there, rewards points. Every sports writer or broadcaster has to stay at a Marriott property, which is a billion of them, for the precious reward points that they can use for all kinds of stuff. They can use for room upgrades. They can apply them to flights, all kinds of fun stuff. They're always talking about it. Don't get them started. Trust me. It's terrible. Bruce Levine, big report today that the Bleacher Nation guys got all excited about. God bless them. Cubs actively looking for a stud reliever and a starter. Well, I'm glad Jed got started now because it's not like they needed one the entire offseason. So he's out looking. And one of the things I find very interesting about this is the idea that, and I'm advocate too, they should go get Sandy Alcantara. Or is he an Alcantara? God, I'm going to have to learn this if we're going to talk about it all. Anyway, the Cubs try to get Jesus Luzardo from the Marlins, and that was good scouting. Jesus has been very good for the Phillies. I would think that the Marlins want more for Sandy than they got for Jesus because Sandy's a Cy Young winner. But he's a big dude who you'd like to have on your team. He's not pitching very well yet, but he's coming off the Tommy John. No risk there. They didn't have enough to get Jesus Luzardo. There, it just came back to me. Do we think they have enough to get Sandy? I would think maybe not. But then go get Mason Miller from the A's. Oh, that'll cost a lot too. In prospects. Yeah, I mean, I get it. The A's never seem to want to keep anybody, but why would they be trading Mason Miller? I don't get it. He's not making a lot of money. That's usually when they get rid of dudes, right before they make a lot of money. So I wouldn't get that excited about that Bruce report. It sounds more like Bruce reporting what he thinks they ought to be doing instead of what they actually can do. I'm going to take a quick look at this. The other guy they mentioned was there's ask price for San Diego. Contra. Oh yeah, Pablo Lopez from the Twins, who's makes a lot of money, $21.5 million this year and next, which I don't care about, but we know the Cubs do. And also we hurt. He got a hammy, as Wani would say. He's got a hammy. And then Sonny Gray or Eric Fetty from the Cardinals. Look, I would trade for Sonny Gray. I wouldn't trade. I don't know what I would give up for Eric Fetty. Maybe Drew Pomeranz. Maybe that's what I'd give up. And then they get into the whole thing about, the Cubs don't like to trade with the Cardinals because they're rivals. Don't like that. I get it. But the idea is, if you think you can get equal value, then who cares? Trade for the team that's got. I mean, the '95 Cubs went out and traded for Todd Zeile And that put them over the hump. Well, no, it didn't. Todd was pretty bad for them. They didn't win anything. But it was a good move. They didn't give up anything that, hurt them. Are we still, I swear to God, if it's like, well, gave up Lou Brock for Ernie Broglio. Yeah, that's right. That's those 70-year-old trades. Those are the ones we ought to be keeping an eye on. I guess 60-some years still. I don't care. And they're like, well, they'll still make trades with the White Sox. All the big ones, like Nick Madrigal. Ooh. That was a daring deal for both sides. So I don't get it. And I don't know what else. That's the only guy they mention. Don't you just get the idea that the Cubs, the next like 7th, 8th, or 9th inning reliever they get is going to be like when the Pirates finally release David Bednar. The Cubs are like, didn't you play Little League Baseball against Ian Happ? You want to come play with him for the league minimum? I guess. Sure. And then he comes out and gives up ropes all over the park. That'll be fun. I just don't, I don't know. The market hasn't like formed yet. We don't know who's going to be available. And it's just so ridiculous to sit here on the 22nd of April and be like, well, here's the deals they're going to make. Like, nothing's going to happen for months unless the trades you make right now are for, like, you get Drew Pomeranz. That's what you get in April. And I know the Brewers got Quinn Priester, who's pitched pretty well for them in 3 starts. And they gave up so much. It's like, well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. They traded prospects. No idea. It's just like, remember how much the Padres gave up to get Yu Darvish? Well, 4 of these young studs. Jed was a genius. He got Class A guys. He got 4 of them. These raw, the Cubs can mold them into, then we haven't seen anything. Eventually, we're going to see Owen Casey come out to kill some grass in right field and wander around. But usually, if you trade prospects for something, you end up okay. And Priester might not even stay in the rotation when Brandon Woodruff comes back. So let's not get all giggly, as my good friend Lou Piniella would say. So there's that, which is nice. Cubs are, by the time you hear this, I'm sure the first game against the Dodgers will already be over. They're finally going to be done with the Dodgers after Wednesday night. It feels like the Cubs have played the Dodgers 35 times this year. It's not how many times they played them. They played them 5 times. They're going to play them 7. And the trip to Japan, while I'm sure it really crippled Tom Ricketts financially. My nephew and his new wife, as they went on their honeymoon. See, I was still like, we went on our honeymoon like right after. Of course, our wedding was on the honeymoon, so that we were already there. But I know a lot of people, they don't go on the honeymoon right away. I know people go to work, like they get married on Saturday and they go to work on Monday. Like, my honeymoon's coming up in 3 months. But anyway, they went to Japan, which would be cool. That was the whole joke. They put on the wedding registration or the gift registry. I can't talk. Round trip plane tickets to Japan. And so that was the running joke between everybody at the wedding. What'd you get them? Oh, I got them the plane tickets to Japan. Nobody's buying you the fucking plane tickets to Japan. What are we, made out of money? Anyway, they went to Japan and I saw them on Easter. And I was there for a good 4 hours. She talked about the food for 4 hours. The food in Japan. And it was fine. It was relatively interesting for 20 minutes. It just kept going. But and to her, not to, she would run, somebody else. She was telling these stories to multiple people. It's not like we all sat around. We didn't get in a circle. And she told a story for 4 hours about the food in Japan. She would talk to somebody for 20 minutes, somebody for 45 minutes, it was a lot of food talk. It sounded like it was good. I went to the Benihana at the Westgate in Las Vegas, and that's as close geographically, I think, as I've been. No, I've been to San Francisco, so I've been closer geographically to Japan. But yeah, it's the Benihana in Vegas is about as close as I think I'm going to get to eating in Tokyo. And it was fine. So I should have just incessantly talked about that for like 4 hours too. Oh, I know, at the Benihana, you can. When you were there, did they take the onion and chop it up and then make the little volcano and then make the smoke come out of it? Did they do that? Hey, at one of the restaurants did they take a shrimp off the spatula, throw it at your mouth? Hey, did you do the thing where he threw it in his hat? Like, no, that's not. They don't do that in Japan for real. What I was disappointed about was she talked about Japan for 4 hours, and at no time did Jameson Tyon's favorite Pokemon come up, which I thought from watching Cub coverage of Tokyo and then the weeks since, pretty much all they talk about with Big Jimmy. It's this weird grown man Pokemon fetish. But anyway, there's that. But anyway, so the Cubs will finish up with the Dodgers. One of the good things about going to Japan, though, was if you notice this homestand has been they had a day off. Am I right? Then 3 with the D-bags, then a day off, 2 with the Dodgers, and a day off. Because it should have been a 4-game series with the Dodgers. Because those 2 games, as Tom will tell you, those 2 games in Japan, those were our home games. We didn't get our typical. Yes, yeah. Nobody thinks you didn't make a shitload of money in Japan, right? And we saw that you took poor Alex Cohen there, and every time, no matter where he was, when they were doing their little video reports, he was wearing navy blue slacks and a navy blue marquee polo. So apparently, he didn't even take a change of clothes. So he didn't have to pay for a bag for him. You saved plenty of money, and then you made a lot of money. We're not that concerned about. So then this should have been a 4-game series, but then if they got a day off before and after the Dodgers, so they'll be well rested now. It'll be great. And this is part of how they're going to weather the Justin Steele thing, right? So they won't. Oh, that's right. That didn't happen. Remember, it was going to be a minimum stay on the injured list, and because of all these off days, we're going to have to use a 5th starter once. It's going to be great. Well, I don't know if they have enough off days between now and next May. I think they may have to. They may have to address that. But that's okay. You got all these guys. Send Jordan Wicks back to get stretched back out. Bring him back. Javier Assad will be back soon, and that'll help. We like Javier. It's a nice pitcher. So yes, at some point they are going to have to go get a pitcher. And no, you can't get one now because nobody worth a damn is available now except for Drew Pomeranz. They already did the best you could possibly do. Go get him, Jed. It's wonderful. It's something I probably should hold to talk with Dave about, but we'll just talk about it twice. Why not? I don't know if you guys saw the. So Jared Kelenic, the Barbs are trying to. I wouldn't even say revive Jared's contract or career because it never took off, and he's a highly touted prospect that struggled with Siatke, and now he's struggling with the Barbs. And he didn't run a ball out the other night. And Ronald Acuna Jr., who apparently was watching the game at home while he rehabs from whatever injury this one is. Oh, it's his knee still. Tweeted basically, how come I didn't bench him? I would have got benched because in I think it was the COVID year, right? Acuna got benched for not hustling. The playoffs the year before, he had narrowly missed a home run, and I don't know if he got held to a single, but the Barbs told him that was unacceptable. And so the next chance they got, which was the next year, they benched him for not hustling. And basically, Ronald was kind of like, I wonder why I got benched, but Johnny Tryhard White guy didn't. He didn't actually say that, but he kind of knew what he was getting at. But it reminded me of, though, because everything reminds me of David Ross, was when he benched Schwarber. Do you remember that? Kyle hit a ball into the corner and got thrown out, I think, trying to get to second. Is that what happened? I'm foggy. But anyway, he didn't run hard enough. And Rossi got out. He showed him. He sat him right down. Well, this had happened just, I don't know, a couple of weeks after he had done that to Javi. And it clearly was his way of showing, like, see, I'll do this to anybody. I'll do it even to my buddy, Kyle Schwartz. We're practically cousins. I don't know. But they really still like each other a lot. And Kyle, not exactly a reputation for not playing hard. I'm going to show him. See? Equal opportunity. Doesn't matter. And then the whole thing felt like not prearranged, but basically like Ross knew Kyle would be okay with it, right? Like he was going to take it the right way because they're pals. And he's like, see, I got to show that I won't just do it to Javi or, you know. The problem came a little bit later when Wilson Contreras criticized the team for not playing hard. And he was right. And we all knew he was right. And Ross went off on Wilson. Shouldn't say stuff like that. And it was, I always thought that, I don't know that it was because Wilson is from Venezuela. I think it came more from, I think Rossi always, I don't think Rossi ever liked Wilson because when Wilson showed up in 2016, he didn't go back to the minors. He stayed and he really ate into Ross's playing time, which actually, Wilson's a big reason why the Cubs won the World Series that year. And then Ross's at bats were limited, which were good. And he did fine in his. It all worked. But I always got the feeling that Rossi was like, yeah, whatever, that guy. I would have played a lot more if he hadn't shown up and actually had the nerve to be good. Look at this asshole getting hits. I could have those at bats. I could hit 218. Be fine. So I always wondered when there's when stuff like that happens. You know, we see it just from the surface level, you know, but there's always a little more to it. And I don't know why it made me immediately think of Ross, but it did. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember when there was a double standard there, clearly. Wilson getting yelled at for trying to be a team leader. That was a team, right? That was part of the thing that was annoying was the Cubs, that Cub team. So that was the 19 Cubs. No, that was that the 21 Cubs? Good, Jesus, I can't figure it. It had to be because there were fans. Because Ross would have got there in 20, so it's 21 Cubs. And from 19, and then, well, who knew in 20 because of COVID was weird. And then 21, and then in 21, part of the problem was the Cubs didn't really seem to have like a kick-ass leader. It was part of the dumb reason that Theo got rid of Joe and brought in Dave. It's like, wow, we'll need a guy to be a leader. Your manager can't be the leader like that. He's management. You need a player to take that. And Wilson was clearly like, okay, fine. We don't have one. I'll do it. And then Ross is like, we need somebody to, oh, no, not you. When I said we needed somebody to do it, I didn't mean you. I meant somebody else. So there was that. A lot has been made of the Cubs' schedule early in the season, and I think that for once, it actually has some meaning. This has been a very tough schedule, and they've done a nice job. I still don't understand how they're leading the baseball in runs scored, considering half the lineup doesn't hit. The ones who hit really hit, I guess. But you know, they've weathered this. This is kind of the last 5 days of it, 5 games of it over the next 7 days. Or 6 days. Dodgers, day off. Phillies, all at home. Then it eases up. You go to Pittsburgh for 3, where you'll probably get Skeens twice somehow. And then off to Milwaukee, where they always play well. Then home for the Giants. This is a weird. Go to Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. Come home, play the Giants. And then go to New York. What's with the 3 games against the Giants just to break up the road trip, I guess? And the Mets and the Marlins and the White Sox and the Marlins. Now that's a nice stretch there. Marlins, White Sox, Marlins. And then some Colorado coming up. And the White Sox are terrible. The Rockies are somehow worse. It's funny, the White Sox are well, they can't lose 121 games again. Why can't they? They're not even they have less talent this year than they had last year. They're brutally bad again. But I guess it's just the law of averages says you're going to luck out and somehow win 43 games. That's not really a high bar. But 14-10 through the first 24 games. It would be nice not to fall flat on their face over the rest of this homestand against Dodgers and Phillies, and then get out of it with, if you're still in first place or tied for first place, that would be good. One thing I'm enjoying is how terrible the Cardinals are, because they deserve it. They deserve it every year, but they really deserve it this year because they didn't even try. They were the only team in baseball that did not sign a major league free agent in the offseason. Not a one. They're 9-14. They've lost at least 5 in a row. I think it's 5 in a row. They got swept in 4 with the Mets. Did they win the game before that? They did. And then they lost to the Barbs. So 5 in a row. Not enough. Keep going. Lose them all. If they did, everybody'd be like, Cub fans would be worried about, they're going to get the number 1 draft pick. Yeah, maybe they'll take Cooper Flag. It's baseball. That doesn't always matter. There's no Skeens this time. It doesn't always matter. Don't worry about it. So anyway, I had a lot of fun writing the article on Monday. So fun that I didn't write one on Tuesday, but on Monday, about the crazy game. And then I had a hunch, and I was right, that crazy stuff had happened like that to the Cubs before. But the one I just could not believe was the game in 1922. I'm just looking through I saw that was like the last time there were 15 runs scored in 1 inning in that game. The Cubs scored 14 runs in the 4th inning, and the Phillies had scored 1, so 15. But then I looked, and the Cubs scored 10 runs in the 2nd. It was amazing. And they were up 25-6 after the 4th inning. And in typical Cub fashion, they won 26-23. So that was the game at Wrigley. There was another crazy game before they moved to Wrigley, when they were still playing in the West Side grounds. And this was with some of the, if you've listened to Remember This Crap, as Donahue and I are going around the positions, some of our favorites played a big role in this. The Cubs took a 9-0 lead into the top of the 9th against the Reds, and they gave up 10 runs in the 9th, including the last 5 runs all scored on bases loaded walks. So they went to the bottom of the 9th, down 10-9, but these Cubs, they weren't quitting. Listen to this. See if you notice a theme here. Heine Zimmerman, one of my favorites. I love a guy named Heine. He walked. Frank Wildfire Schulte got hit by a pitch. Oh, that reminds me. Boog the other day, the Marquee just half-assed once in a while will remember an old Cub. And they had Wildfire. He was one of the guys they remembered. And Boog was like, maybe I should, you guys could call me Wildfire Shambi. And I was like, Boog, come on. If you listen to Remember This Crap, you know how Frank got that nickname. He was banging an actress who was in a play called Wildfire. You got to do that to get that nickname. So good luck with that. Anyway, Wildfire got hit by a pitch. So now Heine's on. Cubs are down 10-9. Nobody out. Heine's on second. Wildfire's on first. Vic Sire came up to bat. Struck out. We don't know Vic. That's not a guy we've covered yet. But a wild pitch advanced Heine and Wildfire both in a scoring position. Johnny Evers came up, and he walked to load the bases. So now the bases loaded. Nobody out. Jimmy Archer struck out. Oh, bases loaded, 2 outs. It's down to Red Downs. I don't know who Red Downs is either. He walked. Tie game. Jimmy Sheckard came up. That's a guy we know from Remember This Crap, outfielder. And he literally walked it off with a walk. The Cubs scored 2 in the bottom of the 9th and never hit a ball fair into play. Or foul into play. Walk, hit by pitch, strikeout, wild pitch. Walk, strikeout, walk. And if you go back to the craziness at the at the top of the ninth, the final 7 runs of an 11-10 game scored on bases loaded walks. Fun. It was kind of cool to look back at that. And in the 26-23 game, there's a lot of guys I'd never heard of. Like Phillies starting pitcher Jimmy Ring gave up 10 runs in the second and was still in the fourth when the Cubs scored 14. He gave up 16 runs in the game, but only 6 of them were earned. So obviously had pretty good stuff. I joked in there that their manager, after he got through the third, was like, I think he's settling in. Only to start a 14-run rally in the fourth. But even the Cubs, I didn't know, like Bobo Farrell and not Bobo Farrell. Bob, pause, Farrell. Bobo would be a fun name, but they had crazy names back then, but nobody named that. Like Cliff Heathcote, he had 5 hits. Charlie Holliker was a shortstop. He drove in 6. Hack Miller, a lot of guys named Hack back then. He drove in 6. 8 Cubs had multi-hit games, and they had 8 doubles and 3 homers. Nobody bothered to triple. They didn't need to. Actually, probably nobody was stopping at third. They were just going. But in the 6th inning, they brought a rookie catcher in because they had a big lead. They brought in Gabby Hartnett. And in the top of the 9th, the Phillies had scored 5 runs to pull it within 4, and they had the bases loaded. And the Cubs brought in Tiny Osborne, who a little taller probably than Ethan Roberts. And Tiny was pitching to Phillies second baseman Frank Parkinson. And Cliff Lee was leading off third for the Phillies. Not that Cliff Lee, different Cliff Lee. And he must have got a little far off the bag, and Gabby's like, I got him. Gabby reared back, threw behind Parkinson, and threw the ball right into left field. Oops. Only 1 run scored, though. And then, they ended up walking. Tiny walked Parkinson, so the bases are loaded. Now the winning run, the go-ahead run, is at the plate. And this guy, he should have got a hit just because of the name. Bevo Laborvo. The Texas named their named their cow after him. Bevo Laborvo. B-E-V-O. And then the last name, L-E, capital B, O-U-R-B, or O-U-R-V-E-A-U. Bevo Laborvo. Tiny's talking about Cubs win. Play the song. I don't think they didn't have Go Cubs Go yet, only because Dallas Green hadn't gotten mad at a folk singer yet back then. If he had, they probably would have had it. So anyway, that's the interesting thing. The Cubs, this is the 150th season of Cub baseball. I don't know why. I guess I knew it was 1876, but I've had 139 years stuck in my mind. Probably guess for 11 years. And at 150 years, it's really hard for the Cubs to do something or have something done to them that hasn't happened because of the sheer tonnage of games in this franchise's history. But it's really fun when something crazy happens that you can go back and you can find, incredible moments with Wildfire Schulte and Bevo Laborvo and all those guys from 1912 and 1922. Anyway, so that was fun. Hopefully we'll get Dave on and we can have our regular little chin wag, and then we will I'll catch up with you guys then.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. Got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much, Awesome.